What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about something new from Arcade1up, spotted at a local Costco. This is something that has been rumored for a while. It's finally out there. We have video evidence of it, and now we can talk about it. And what is it that we're talking about? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at it right now. This showed up in the official Arcade1up fan page by Costco Hot Finds is the actual name of the account or the person that posted this. And this is, as you can see, a form factor that we've seen before. This is also some games that we've seen before. The games list is pretty familiar, as you can tell. This is a Pubtable. We've only really seen this in the officially released as the Pong Pubtable, a 4-player Pubtable that was very unique. I thought that was pretty cool for what it was. I didn't pick one up because I wasn't that big on the games itself, and I didn't really have a spot for it. But this is a little bit of a different situation. So let's talk about what we see right in front of us. We see the Miss Pac-Man and the Galaga, the Class of 81 games list for the most part. We got 12 games here. We don't have the 14 that I think we had on the latest iteration. So this is going to be a different PCB, obviously, because you've got head-to-head, a different format. You're not going to have, you can't just take a PCB out of the old Legacy and slap it in here, the original Class of 81 and slap it in here. That's not going to be possible because of the split screen setup you have here. But this is that same set of games, which I think is a pretty strong games list for sure. And the way this thing looks, I got to tell you, this looks really good. Now, if you remember, we saw this in some iterations, in some of the leaks way back in the day. This was showing up as, and if you look at it, you look at the color scheme, you will recognize this. This looks a lot like that Marvel Superheroes cabinet with that blue trim, or the Marvel vs. Capcom Arcade1up with the blue trim. And it definitely reminds me of that Marvel-themed prototype that we saw, because it's not just the trim that's throwing me off and giving me nostalgia and reminding me of that cabinet and that leak, but the cup holders. I know it's a little thing. I know some of you may not think it's a big deal, but these cup holders are in place. There's 4 of them, and they also light up. Now, like I said, it might be easy to make fun of this, but when we saw those leaks back in the day, and I think it was a Marvel vs. Capcom, a Marvel Superheroes, I can't remember exactly the games list. It was on that leaked Pubtable, but it had these cup holders, and it makes sense when you have a 2-player. This is a 2-player form factor, right? This is a 2-player game list, game setup. So you really can't have 4 people. What are you going to do with that extra space? Well, I mean, come on. Cup holders. It's like one of the greatest things about some cars is the number of cup holders that they have. And they light up. And I think it's a good use of real estate. I think that this is a good games list. I like this form factor. Like I said, I wasn't real big on the game. I mean, Pong itself. I mean, the nostalgia, the look of that Pubtable was pretty cool. But this, I think, is actually, believe it or not, is like a welcome change from what we've seen from Arcade1up. If you're going to do the games list that we've seen before, do it in a different form factor. And there's a lot of form factors they could have chosen. Could have picked Couchcade. Anybody? Would have been an absolute disaster. But I think this looks really cool. I mean, maybe it's just the colors. Maybe it is the games list. I don't know exactly what it is, but I mean, to go the extra mile and have your cup holders light up, I don't know. There's just something about this, the way that it looks, the whole package, that I'm absolutely digging. I think this is cool. I mean, we've seen the departures. We've seen more of the multicade aspects of the latest iteration from Arcade1up. That Golden Tee / Midway is definitely a different take on what we've seen from Arcade1up. It is more of a multicade, not really optimized for the games that are on that per se. This is a little bit different. This, harkens back to the Class of 81. We've seen this cabinet in standard forms with the riser. We've seen it with the deluxe. We've seen this. Seen this cabinet in real life. But there is just something about this that I'm absolutely digging, and I like this. And I wish this is definitely one of the form factors that I really didn't mind Arcade1up doing. It's got some utility, and I wanted to see them do more games that interest me in this form factor. But I'm always going to say the biggest missed opportunity, while the cup holders are great and all this looks good, feet underneath that would level this thing, maybe give you a few more inches, not having to have another riser, which unfortunately I think you're going to have based on how tall you are. But the biggest missed opportunity, the biggest thing that they could add to this to really improve this is to have a one-piece protector, a plexiglass cover on top of the entire top of this pub table, because just as well as I do, you're going to have spillage, you're going to have some problems and issues. Somebody's going to spill something because it is a table. You're going to have drinks on the table. You have cup holders. Now, the cup holders, I know, may hold 4 drinks, but there's always going to be that 5th drink. Somebody's going to have something on there, so that 5th drink, and it's going to spill. It's going to happen. And so it would have been nice to have a big one-piece piece of plexiglass to put on top of there and protect the whole thing, not just the screen, but the artwork and everything else. Protect the whole thing from damage and spillage. But it is what it is. And I think that from what Arcade1up has been doing so far, this is not bad. So I like this. Now the price point is, if we watch the video all the way through, you're going to see the price point is going to be, come on, get to that point. You see the side, you see the front, you see the top. The top looks, it's a standard 17-inch monitor. I do notice that they are including more of the screw caps, which I love. It's absolutely something that we should see more often. This should be the standard going forward. And that price of $499, that's right. I thought it was $499, but I want to make sure that we got it correct. $499 is not a bad price. I think all their products should be $499 and below. It'd be nice to see this at $399, but I think from what we've seen, from the way the direction of the company has been headed, this is something nice to see. I dig this. I like this. And it is a form factor that I don't mind at all. Now, if you don't like the pub table, I get it 100%. But I think this is way better than those head-to-head offerings that they had. They were just too low to the ground. They just weren't comfortable. To me, the pub table makes a lot more sense. The price, well, like I said, I like to see that about $399. But $499, it's not a bad place to start. But anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. You're going to pick this up? I don't know that I'm going to pick it up just yet. I'm going to give this some more thought. But I would like to see more pub tables out there, more iterations of this. Please stick to this form factor instead of the multicade thing. Thanks so much for stopping by. Check out the channel. You all have a blessed day, and I will see all of you next time.